Welcome to the Unforgiven, a haunting journey into the secluded village of Holmwood, where ancient superstitions and a dark past converge. Prepare to be immersed in a tale of fear, prejudice, and the quest for redemption. Let the story begin. The sun rose over the secluded village of Holmwood, casting long shadows over the thatched roof cottages and the surrounding thick forest. It was a close-knit community, bound by tradition and a shared fear of the unknown. Elsie, an 18-year-old woman known for her compassion, weaved through the narrow lanes with a basket of bread and cheese. Her destination was a small, dilapidated house on the outskirts of the village, where Agnes lived. The old woman was shunned by the villagers, her solitude and knowledge of ancient folk rituals leading them to label her a witch. Elsie, however, saw past these superstitions and often brought Agnes food and company. Upon reaching Agnes's home that morning, she found the door ajar. With a sense of dread mounting in her heart, Elsie pushed it open and stepped inside. There, she found Agnes, lifeless on her bed, her eyes forever staring at the wooden ceiling. A silence fell over Elsie, interrupted only by the whispering wind. With a heavy heart, she stepped outside and made her way back to the village to relay the dreadful news. News of Agnes's death spread rapidly, like a wave washing over Holmwood. To Elsie's dismay, it was met with sighs of relief and hushed celebration. The supposed witch was no more, and the villagers believed they were finally free from her evil gaze. Little did they know, the real terror was yet to come. As days passed, the village of Holmwood was plagued by eerie phenomena. A rain the color of blood fell from cloudless skies. Whispers floated on the wind, unintelligible but chilling. Livestock was found dead, their bodies drained of life. Fear began to creep into the hearts of the villagers, their earlier celebrations giving way to dread. Elsie, concerned and plagued by guilt, felt drawn to Agnes's home. She decided to investigate, hoping to find some clue or understanding about the unsettling events. Inside the humble dwelling, a layer of dust already settling on the wooden furniture, she discovered a worn-out diary underneath Agnes's pillow. The diary was filled with entries scrawled in Agnes's shaky handwriting. They spoke of her loneliness, her deep understanding of folk rituals, and her sorrow at being misunderstood by the villagers. Most intriguingly, there were hints at a curse born of pain and rejection that would affect the village after her death. A shiver ran down Elsie's spine as she closed the book. It was clear that she needed to bring this to the village's attention. Armed with Agnes's diary, Elsie went to Reverend Miller, the village elder. He was a stern man, firm in his Christian beliefs, and held a skeptical view of the supernatural. His initial reaction to the diary was dismissive, believing it to be nothing more than an old woman's ramblings. Elsie pleaded with him, outlining the strange occurrences that had begun plaguing the village after Agnes's death. She argued that they couldn't dismiss this as mere coincidence. Her conviction, combined with the undeniable fear creeping into Holmwood, caused Reverend Miller to pause. He considered Elsie's words, his gaze moving over the diary. He didn't believe in curses or witchcraft, but he was a man of the people. Seeing the growing fear in his community, he made the difficult decision to support Elsie's idea of conducting a forgiveness ritual. If nothing else, he thought, it might help to calm the villagers' frayed nerves. They decided to perform the ritual the following evening. The whole village gathered under the vast, star-studded sky. They didn't know it yet, but they were about to face a night that would forever haunt their memories. The evening of the ritual arrived. A cool breeze blew through Holmwood as the villagers gathered around a large bonfire. Reverend Miller, donned in his ceremonial robes, led the proceedings, a palpable tension hanging in the air. As the ritual progressed, the villagers murmuring their words of forgiveness and prayers, the air turned colder. Suddenly, the bonfire flickered wildly, casting monstrous shadows against the cottages. A horrifying apparition, a twisted embodiment of Agnes, emerged from the flames, Gasps of horror echoed through the square as chaos erupted. Windows shattered, sending shards of glass flying. Unseen forces set ablaze the thatched roofs, turning the tranquil night into a blazing inferno. Blood-curdling screams filled the air, the terror reaching its chilling crescendo. Each villager felt a cold touch of fear. Their earlier jubilation at Agnes's death replaced with regret and dread. The night seemed to stretch on endlessly, the village at the mercy of the spectral figure, a haunting reminder of their prejudice and cruelty. As dawn broke, the spectral figure vanished, leaving behind a village shaken to its core and scarred by the events of the night. Fires smoldered, homes lay in ruins, and the villagers wandered in a daze. The terror had subsided as abruptly as it had begun, leaving behind a hushed silence. Elsie and Reverend Miller stood in the midst of the destruction, their faces pale with the realization of the horrors their fear and prejudice had invoked. The reality of their actions, the collective guilt, weighed heavily on them. Agnes, who they had ostracized and feared, had become a symbol of their deepest guilt and regret. The villagers began to rebuild, their movements slow and their hearts heavy. A newfound respect for Agnes seemed to seep into the very soil of Holmwood. Agnes's home, still standing amidst the ruin, became a stark reminder of the past, its silhouette a symbol of their painful lesson. In the quiet dawn, Holmwood began to heal. As life started to regain some normalcy, they knew they would carry the memory of this incident in their hearts, a lingering reminder, promising change and serving as a harrowing lesson for generations to come.